What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That, of course, is the Freddie Mercury puppet. We, of course, are back with another banger of an episode. That's what we do here, folks. Before we go any further, I will, of course, address, as I do every episode, the proverbial elephant in the room. You, of course, cannot take your eyes off these smoldering good looks, these luscious blonde locks. So I will confirm that, yes, you are looking at the one and only love child of one Diamond David Roth. Now you know. Now we can get down to brass tacks, which is another banger of an episode. My guest is here, so we are going to get into it and chop it up. Here we go again. And we will get him here. Paul, what's going on, man?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Boy, you're busy. A day chock full of interviews?
Oh, Jesus Christ. So not to vent, I appreciate it. Like it's one of those email interviews that I've been sitting on for a while. And I started working on it months ago, and I kid you not, I remember working on it and I was on it for over 3 damn hours, and I'm like and I'm going through it. I was like, I'm already 3 hours deep in, and I'm looking at the rest of it. I was like, and it was 20 something questions, and I was at like 14, and I was like, and I vented back to this person too. She's a very sweet person, and I appreciate her taking the time.
Yeah.
But I was like, I get a lot of interviews, and I have very limited time to do that. I was like, let's, if you could keep it like 15 questions or so tops. And she sends me 20 something, like 23 or 24 questions, but each question has about 5 or 6 questions in it.
Within it. Yes. Yeah. Right. That's like a little journalism trick, I think. Right. Like kind of like, camouflage some other subliminal questions within.
So it's like, okay, so she numbered like 1 through 25 or something like that. But I was like, there was one of them that had like 5 to 7 questions like within. I was like, so I was on. I was like, in the end, I was like, that was damn like over 100. That was like 120 questions. I was like, I was on it for 3 damn hours. I was like, I'm not even halfway through it. And so I feel bad for her. She's very nice. She's asked me a couple of times, hey, can you finish that up? And so today was the day where I told my wife, I was like, I have her interview. I have another interview because this one was from like a South American country. I was like, I have another one from Belgium. I have another one from the UK. I was like, and I got your podcast. I was like, but I'm gonna get that one interview done. And here I am. It's like, I was like, I'm still in the teens on it. I haven't even gotten to the 20s on it. And I've been on it today. I've been on it today for 3 hours.
It's like a homework assignment. Yeah.
That's what I tell my wife. I was like, it's crazy. All the email ones. I was like, it's like you have so much to do like during the week, and then it's like, you don't have any spare time because then you also have homework on top of it. And they're like, no, it's just it's just an interview or something like that. It's like, buddy, it's like
it's work.
These things take a lot. Like, I love the podcast ones because they're like, we can have fun. We can it's zippy. It's
right. There's someone giving you a little bit. There's someone giving you a little back and forth.
Yeah, I'm not typing.
It kind of helps. Typing is what I'm not very keen of. And I, I'm 52 years old, so I didn't grow up in an era with technology. So the whole texting thing, you kind of got to go along kicking and screaming. It's obviously not something we're going to go backwards on, but it does suck though. I'm from that old school of just picking up a phone if you got something to say.
Yeah, same here. Sometimes like, just call me. Like I'm not trying to like, it takes so much longer to type out a damn conversation. Just give me a quick call. I'm not a fan. But so usually, Paul, when I do these things, I kind of like to go back to the beginning because I talk to so many musical artists on here, and a common theme, obviously, with musicians, with artists, is growing up in homes where the parents either had some type of musical ability or there was an abundance of music playing, records playing. Was this the case for you? Yeah, yeah. You know what? In fact, I should have been more prepared. I'll be right back. I want to grab some records that were my dad's.
Okay. Yeah, please. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, that just speaks to my theory right there. As he's grabbing his records, I will tell my audience that more often than not, artists are bred in homes where creativity is encouraged, where it's flourishing. And I guess maybe the parents don't necessarily have to be musicians per se themselves, but growing up in homes where there is a lot of music, where there is a lot of, where creativity is encouraged, where culture is encouraged, I think it spawns. Well, I'm not going to say it's the case all the time, but more often than not, it is what spawns great musicians. I would say anyway. I don't know that it's not true in every case, and I have had that odd interview where an artist will tell me, nope, parents didn't have any musical ability, didn't really play a lot of music in the house. But I think more often than not, it is the case.
So my dad had just like a room full of records.
Okay.
So and he had and so he had like a lot of just different records just in general. So it wasn't like he was into like one genre of music or anything like that. Like he had like Donna Summer records, Rod Stewart, and so forth. But oh boy, when I saw this,
yes,
when I saw this, and I was like what are these bloody faces? And then,
that was a lot of people's. That was a lot of people's gateway drug.
And then you open this thing up, and it's like,
you didn't know what to make of it. Yeah, mind is blown. I
was like, wow, mine was just blown. So that was just it was it's impressionable. And I remember seeing this silver record. This also the Kiss double platinum record. But these are my dad's vinyls that I still have. So that was just that was really like the start of me really liking like just heavy guitars and just heavy rock music and this heavy metal world. So
there was no real progression for you then. You kind of right out of the gate were kind of tapped into the heavy stuff immediately.
Yeah, I loved Kiss as a kid, and I remember being about maybe like six years old or so, and seeing that Black Sabbath first album cover as like a poster in my uncle's bedroom. And at that time, my uncle was probably like, I don't know, maybe like 18 years old or so, 17 or 18. So he's got that woman figure of that first Black Sabbath album.
Yeah,
it's creepy as hell. You're like, oh my god, like it's a witch or something like that. And I remember him, playing the Black Sabbath music, and it sounded like something out of a horror movie. And this is like the late 70s, so you also had like movies like like The Exorcist was like, oh, it's forbidden for you to watch it if it's on TV, but my sister and I would watch it. We'll sneak and watch it. So we definitely were into stuff like that. And when I was about 8 years old, saw Quiet Riot on TV and like Friday night videos, and that was on the radio, and to hear that something like that was like the number one song over like what was like pop music at that time was something absurd and unheard of. And so it really brought heavy metal music into now a commercial standpoint. Like, hey, this like, who is this Quiet Riot? Like, it goes completely against all odds of what the music business would formulate and calculate of what people are going to listen to and buy. Right. So it's like, well, let's get more of that on the media. So then you got like Rat, Round and Round, and Motley Crue, Shout at the Devil. So now suddenly it's like all these images are not so hidden anymore. Now they're like in the forefront and being commercialized. So stuff like that was impressionable to me, seeing Motley Crue Looks That Kill video. that's something for like a 9-10-year-old to see that on TV in 1984. You're like, that is cool as hell.
I'm growing up fast here.
Yeah. And then it just like, keeps like progressing forward. Then from there, it's like, you're also hanging out with other kids that like that stuff too. And then you see like an Iron Maiden record. It's like, who's this? The art definitely attracts the listener. I mean, it's definitely smart marketing, like having this mascot and this beautiful painting artwork and stuff like that, and it's like a comic book figure, so it draws you in, and then you hear the music, and it's more than just fluff. It's like, very artistic music when you hear Iron Maiden, and then you see the videos on like Headbangers Ball, and so there were like movies to these songs, and I loved Iron Maiden so much. Live After Death was like my first official release that I got. That was like the live album of one of their concerts, I think in Long Beach Arena in California.
So would you say they were kind of your foray into more extreme metal? Because obviously what you do in Deteriorot is much, much heavier than some of the bands that you're talking about, man. So was there a specific artist or an album that got you into the even heavier stuff?
Yeah, Ride the Lightning, Metallica.
Yeah.
I was such an Iron Maiden fan that I didn't think like I would like anything more than that. And when I first heard Fight Fire with Fire, starting off with this cool little intro, or it's like a calm intro, it's bringing into this fire of a song that just comes right into it. And today, I mean, think of how impressionable that is to a 12-year-old in 1986, that here I use the formula of having an intro even at over 50 years old. You can hear and even in our last album, our album before, even in the beginning of our release from 1993, it starts off with an intro.
So it does.
So that's because that was like the blueprint of how it gave me this impression. Listening to something that has like a beginning, it's kind of like when you watch Star Wars as a kid and you see this introduction, galaxy far, far away or whatever like that, and then you have the words, and then it's coming in, and now you're going to start into the movie. So that's kind of how I kind of relate it together, and I think it's very impactful. So I like to share that to the listener of how, because I know that it gave me an impact as a kid. So if it doesn't for me, it's something that I think conveys moving forward. So yeah, getting into just Metallica Ride the Lightning was man. I mean, when you think about it today, you could put on Fight Fire with Fire, and that's a heavy fucking song. That
doesn't sound dated at all. Yeah, it still kicks ass to this day.
It's heavy. It's heavy as hell. I played it. I played the song itself to a normie, like fresh ears.
Yeah.
Someone that I bought a receiver over on Marketplace. Just I've been like this audiophile nerd lately on Facebook Marketplace. So so of course the guy talks to me about am I in a band or anything like that, and it's always kind of an awkward conversation to have with a normie, because they might think, oh well, tell me the name of your band, maybe I know it. You don't know it.
You don't. Yeah. It's gonna be too much. It's probably gonna be too much for the average person.
It's and they're like, oh, and it's you don't know it. And then they ask me like, what do I like, and when I mentioned like Metallica, of course, somebody who's only going to know me be like Enter Sandman or something like that.
Yeah.
So when I played that person Fight Fire with Fire, they were like, that's Metallica. Like, is that the new one? No, this is from yeah, this is from like 40 years ago or something like that. You know, he was like, really? He goes, I never knew that they sounded like that. He goes, that sounds like death metal. It's like, that doesn't sound like death metal, but it sounds heavy. You know,
It's heavy. Yeah,
it
no doubt.
yeah. It's definitely it definitely stands like this test of time today. So going into that, it so that is like a gateway into getting into like Slayer, and
Sure.
then that further expands things of wanting, you know, how far does this rabbit hole go? And
Yeah, it goes much farther. Yeah, I know. I remember being young
yeah,
and doing that too. Like, let's see if we can find the next fastest, the next most brutal thing. You're just constantly looking
yeah.
and pushing the envelope, pushing it up. So you guys have just dropped an album, 11 days ago. So I'm wondering, with this lineup now, since you are, the last man standing from back in the day, and this is like a revamped lineup, what's the creative process like on an album like this? Do you kind of take the reins, or is it collaborative?
No, it's I mean, you got to take a look at like Steven Spielberg or Quentin Tarantino. You know, we're creating movies. We're gonna have
Yep.
different actors
Yep.
and so forth. So you're keeping the theme. Not everybody that is a musician, is a writer, and that's something that I had to come to terms with years ago.
Yeah.
Because there was times where, you know, I was a teenager and I thought, you know, this would be more like a collaborative effort, and when it would come down to, hey, I have this song, I have that song, what do you have? Well, I don't know.
Nothing.
All
Yeah.
right, okay. Well, can you come up with something for next week? And oh, sure, I could try. And then next week, it's, you know, sometimes people they just want to come and they just want to play.
Right.
So they want to come and play and practice, and it would be something that I remember kind of having some animosity over at first, and it's like, you know, why do I have to do everything? And I really had to have more of an understanding, because I found this with others as well too. So it's just one of those things. It's like, hey, let me ask you a question. You know how to talk. You got this podcast. You ever do stand-up comedy?
I haven't. No. Nope.
Why not?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Why
Right.
not?
Right.
Right. You know how to talk. You have a microphone right in front of you.
Right.
That's how it is with music. And it took me a long time to understand that. And it's like that with lots of different instruments with music. So a lot of musicians, for the most part, don't really have that writing skill, or they don't really want to. It's like being a business owner.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. They don't want to. So at this point, would you say that you're writing most of the material?
I'm writing all of it.
All of it. Okay.
Right. Just like a business, just like a business owner. Some people come to work and they're just wanting a job, and they're just coming in to do their job.
Right.
And they're not saying, hey boss, let me start promoting your business on my
put me in
Facebook.
charge of something. Right. Put me in charge of something.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what I think, boss? You know what I would love to do? I would love to change this and this and that about this company. I would love to do. I want to be more involved. So, and I can't get mad at that. You know, so it's
right.
You know, I have to appreciate people for their efforts, if they're, you know, if they're able to come in and practice and show up and do the gigs. But there's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of years in our career, and it's because a lot of times I've waited as well for others to get back in the game, and then that brings me down. Then it's like, man, it's like, then I get depressed because, you know, I don't have people that are being reliable. And after a while, you just kind of say, fuck it. You know, it's like, nobody cares. Like, why should I care?
Right.
So it's just one of those things where, hey, you know, the sand is running out of the hourglass. You know, I've had past you know, medical issues and so forth, where it's like, hey, you know what, the time is now, so I can't be waiting on other people. I can't be waiting even on the record labels and all that stuff. It's like, luckily we work with a great record label for many years that is 100% supportive, and they work with us 100% on everything that we're doing. And I have to work with them, hand in hand. So that's one of those things where I just like, what, time is of the essence. Time is now. I'm not going to be here for much longer, and I need to just go ahead and I can't wait 2 years for somebody to come up with a song or to write anything or to perform or to record something. I have to do it now, because why are we wasting time? I'm only doing this project, and that's it. So I'm dedicated.
So for fans that want to know, you brought it up a couple minutes ago, the inactivity throughout your career. Are you able to explain like what those lapses were, or like what caused those lapses? Like, was it just not having the right lineup, or was it just personal things going on? What was going on? You put out an album in 2001 and then not again till 2010.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff has been out there before. Like, for instance, like that album for 2001, that album should have been in 2000. So
right.
It just kept getting delayed so much, and I didn't know that at the time that the record label was having a transition where they were selling. I didn't know this, but they were like selling their catalog, and they were shutting doors. There was like two partners of that label that were splitting, and so here they are. They sold the rights to an album of ours that wasn't even released yet. So that was just it was just wrong business at that time, but it was being kept secret. But all things were bygones later on. But that's what was going on. So that was during the time where we were waiting on that album over and over again. And during the recording process, we had enough material to really record 2 albums. So we already had the second album just about done already by the time that that 2001 album was out, and we had 5 songs of that as a demo. But we had all 9 songs of that recorded. We had scratch tracks for vocals, but it was basically done at that point in 2002, 2003. But the label said, "Hey, we closed up shop," and I had people with me that also just weren't reliable. We had a show that we had to headline, and a week before the show, the drummer said, "Hey, I don't really feel like driving all the way to North Carolina from New Jersey for one show." So then that caused like a snowball effect where he was like, "Well," he's like, if you find somebody else that will do the show, like, you have my blessing." And it was probably one of those things where he said it, but he didn't mean it. And when I put the word out that, hey, we need somebody that can learn 10 songs. I know it's tough, but if you can learn 10 songs in like 6 days,
right.
And somebody responded to me like 2 days later and said, "Hey, like, I saw that. I already have 6 of your songs down. If you want to meet up." And I met up with this person, and we worked on 6 songs on a Monday. We went back. We got back together on a Wednesday and worked on the other 4 songs. So we had 10 songs with a drummer that we'd never met before about 6 days before the show.
Crazy.
Yeah. And we had to leave that Friday. So after that Wednesday, I felt comfortable enough to tell the other guys, it's like, "Hey, we do have somebody that is going to fill in. He learned 10 songs, and I just got finished practicing with him." And then suddenly, like, the other 2 guys in the band were like, "Well, if John, the drummer, if John's not going to go, like, we're not going to go."
Right. Yeah. So
just like stupid shit like that. And then it's like, it's unprofessional to do, because we have a commitment. We have a commitment to the event organizer, and we have a commitment to the fans that bought tickets to see us headline.
They're expecting it. Sure.
For 6 months in advance, and we're going to say the day before, "No, we're not going to go because 2 guys don't feel like it, and the third guy also didn't feel like it first, but we found somebody to fill his spot, but now the other 2 guys don't feel like it either." So so that's just one of those things where you work so hard at something and you find that other people don't have the same commitment. It's difficult. So that does, you know, kill your spirit when shit like that happens. So it was just like one of those things where it's like, okay, so so what do we do now? That fill-in drummer said that he's like, listen, I got a friend that plays bass. I know it's a lot to ask for, but you know, he's coming with me anyway. Like he was coming with me as a friend. He could try to learn the songs like on the way over there, just on bass, and that's what we did. And we played the show as a three-piece. The guy's learning the bass like in the back of the van while he's listening to it on headphones, and he just practiced for like 12 hours straight.
Found a way to make it work.
Yeah, we did that gig, and we came back, and next thing we know, it's like I don't know, that was like 2003 or so. So it's just rough when you deal with stuff like that, to, you know, have the passion when you have, you know, just some negativity around you.
Yeah.
So I have to worry about, at that point, you know, my own business at the time, getting married. Then 2006, then my wife became pregnant at the time. Then I'm having a child, and next thing I know, it's 2009, and the label hit me up and they're like, hey, like, you know, we got things going with like a new name, a new label now. It's Extreme Music, and you know, that other record, The Faithless, that was from 2002. Like whatever happened with that? Like I remember 5 songs of the demo version. Like, can we release that? It's like, well, we can release like the whole album. I just have to finish wrapping up. I want to really just like re-record all the vocals and re-record some of the guitar tracks and lead guitar solos. And we completely unexpected. Next thing I know, like within like a week or two, I'm driving to New Jersey, because at that point now I had moved to North Carolina. I drove to New Jersey and got with the original recording engineer from the previous album from 7 years before. And he still had our reels. They still had everything. They still had the tape and everything. Everything was saved. And we finished out the record in like 4 days. And that was the Faithless album in 2010.
And now your voice is also an instrument in and of itself. You know, singing this type of music, are you a guy that can just get up there and blast this stuff out, or do you ascribe to some type of a vocal care routine?
No vocal care routine on that. And it was one of those things that when we were on the European tour, we were doing it every single night. I was afraid. I was like, what if doing this for so many nights, what if I blow my voice or anything like that? And just the opposite happened. Like by like the last week, it was like my voice was like deeper, it was heavier, and I was like, wow, I was like, this is so this is I was like, this was a lot of fun. I was like, and I was loving the way the last week of anybody that would have a camera phone video would post it, I would hear, I was like, damn, vocals are sick as hell. But I don't have a routine. I just go for it. Just go for it cold.
Okay. Fair enough. And what is your relationship like with touring? You know, talking to the musicians on here, as many of them that you know that I do, it's certainly like a love-hate thing. Obviously, it's a big part of what you guys do, but there is a point where you're out for a certain amount of time and you are ready to call it a day and get back home. You know, it's a fine line. You're getting to see the world, you're getting to travel, but you also kind of maybe miss the creature comforts. You know, you miss home. What's your relationship like with touring? How long do you like to be out for? Do you enjoy that part of the business?
Oh, I've figured out a way that works for me and works for the other guys.
Okay.
A little bit better. So being out for an extended time, it's rough.
Yeah,
it's rough. There was a time where it's like, man, you're looking at a month-long schedule, and by the third night, you think to yourself, like, how the fuck am I? Like, I feel like I can't go another 2 nights or anything like that.
Right,
I can't go another week. The hardest part is that it's easier to just be working your regular job at home and coming
Yeah.
to that realization, because you're not at work 24 hours. You're at work for 8 hours and you come back home.
Right.
But when you're on the road, you're getting up at like 5:30 or 6 a.m. because the you have to be on the bus and out of there at 7 a.m. because it's 10 hours of a drive. Sometimes we had 12 hours of a drive
Yeah.
to the next spot. So it's like, okay, it's like we have to be like on the road at 7, because it gets us to the venue at 5. And really at that point, we're already like an hour behind schedule of loading, because loading's supposed to be at 4. But I'm
Right.
letting you guys get an extra hour of sleep. Okay. So we'll get to the venue at 5. We're getting there just at really, we got a sound check immediately. So sound check band 1, sound check band 2, and doors open at 6, and the show starts at 7. And then we're on at 11. We finish around 12. By the time we load out, it's about 1 a.m. And by the time we get to where we're staying at, now it's about 2 a.m. by the time we're getting inside. And then you got 2 bands and 11 people that are all fighting for a shower.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And next thing you know, it's like by the time you're getting in the shower, now it's 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning. And boy, you only have 2 hours of sleep left. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
get up at 6 a.m. and then you're doing it all over again. And it's rough physically, it's rough
Sure.
mentally,
Sure.
because at some point you kind of feel like you're a hostage in a traveling circus.
Right. I get that. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and, and then you're so sleep deprived. And the last thing that you're really thinking when you're so sleep deprived, it's like you're needing to perform and you're wiped out. And then you have fans that are like, you get the sensory overload of fans coming up to you, and everybody wants to buy you a drink or a shot. And then they might get offended if you're like, no, like I'm really just trying to keep my eyes open right now.
Right.
Like,
Right. That's the
like I
last thing
don't
I
want,
need.
I
Yeah.
don't need a shot of whiskey. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in organ failure.
Right. Right. Now this album
So
that just came out, man, it comes in at 12 songs, 36 minutes. When I go on websites and I see albums getting reviewed nowadays, it's funny you brought up Metallica earlier. Back in the days, we used to be spoiled by Metallica albums that would be 60, 70, 80 minutes long. Those days with dwindling attention spans seem to be gone now. Do you guys sit around as a band and talk about how long you want an album to come in at? How many songs? How many minutes?
no, the other guys are just players.
Okay. Okay. So do you give that? Do you give that any thought at all though? Like this album needs to be this many songs or this many minutes.
I think about like a monumental album to me was like Slayer's Rain and Blood.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was that start to finish. That was like 30 minutes or something like that.
Right. Right.
And after a while, it's like, yeah, we do have short attention spans. You have a society of people that they can't look at a video that's longer than a minute, and that's
I
on to the
know.
next when you're scrolling on Facebook and
Yep.
Reels. So, and we're not trying to be a grindcore band. We're not trying to have 1-minute songs, but
Right.
but at the same time, I think it's a classic formula. When you look at a great album like Judas Priest, British Steel, the average song on that record is about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So that works. I think the longest song that I wrote was like in '93, Manifested Apparitions of Unholy Spirits, and that's a song that clocks in at like close to 7 minutes. And after that, I said to myself, I said, I'm never going to write a song that's that long. I've listened to other bands like My Dying Bride and Anathema, or was it more of the doom-esque? And sometimes I think those songs are just way too long. And I get there's people that really like that stuff.
Yeah.
And I like that stuff too, but I like elements of those. I like pieces of that. So,
Right.
So it's one of those things where it's like I try to make my own idea of the story and say, okay, well, what if we had something that was like a My Dying Bride, but it ain't no damn 12 minutes. It's
Right.
4 minutes. Okay.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
It's 4 minutes, and that's been the formula that has really gravitated people's attentions, like with this album and with the last album. When you look at the last album, the Rebirth is
Yep.
also like I'm and I'm sorry, I know it's my own record, but if I'm forgetting I'm thinking it's 9 songs on it, but I think it also clocks in at like 32 minutes or something like that, 32 or 33 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been our most successful album ever. Two of the songs that's on the Rebirth, Reanimate and Dark Embrace, are 2 of the most streamed songs ever. And before that, it used to be In Ancient Beliefs album, it used to be like the song The Afterlife from 93. So those were like our previous highest. Now this one record in 2023 broke all of those records by like 100 times. So I get the figures and all that from the stream stats of TuneCore, or distributor.
And by the way, I am looking at my Apple Music right now, and you are spot on. The Rebirth, 9 songs, 31 minutes.
9 songs.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that's something that I find that works. So when I was writing the Rebirth, all I kept thinking about was like, what are the songs that people mostly liked about like our other records? And it was ironically, it was always the songs that I didn't put like, oh my gosh, like so many days into creating a song. It wasn't a song that was a 5-minute or 6-minute. It was usually like, hey,
right,
you know what, we need to come up with a song today, and
right,
and kind of just going off the cuff, and that's kind of like how you write like a hit. Like sometimes just like, let's just come up with something and
sure.
Do your verse, your chorus, your verse, your chorus, your middle part with the guitar solo, and then right back to the beginning. And that's how the song like Paranoid from Black Sabbath was created in the studio. It's like, hey guys, we need one more song on the record. Oh, we don't have another song. Oh, you need to come up with one right now. And it's like, okay, so the Rebirth was like that. It was like song after song after song. I wrote the Rebirth. I wrote that whole record in about 2 days, and it's so it's really like a song that's made up of like a song that would be all like hits, and it was because of that formula. I was like, people like the song called Into the Abyss of Sorrow from the Faithless album, and people really like the song called The Bataan Death March, and both of those songs were we just needed 2 more songs, and those were songs that we came up on the spot. So it was always there. It was like, oh, it's like, why isn't the best song that they like, The Phantom's Cry? Like that's the one where I put like so much thought into that one.
You can't figure it out. I know. Who knows? Who knows why something's why resonate with people? You just never know. Yeah, it's crazy.
Or this one, I was like, so they like the ones that are the 3-minute songs, right? So the Rebirth album is an album that's entirely of every song is 3.5 to 4 minutes long, and I did the Awakening album to be kind of like an in between that. So it's like right. You have probably like half of the album that is like a 3.5 minute song, and then you have a couple more songs that are like your 4 to 5 minute songs. So it gives me a little bit of both, and it's gotten incredible receptions. I see a lot of 7, 8, 9s, and 10s on the reviews for it.
And now you pull double duty in your band as vocalist and guitarist. Are there a couple names you could throw out that you feel like have had the most influence on you as a performer?
Hetfield.
Yeah. I can see that. Sure.
Hetfield, Dave Mustaine, Chuck Schuldiner.
Yes. Yeah, I could see all those
Yeah.
influences. Yeah, especially the Chuck
Yeah.
Schuldiner one. I could definitely, I could definitely hear that. Now, like, what about now? Is that just from a vocal standpoint, or is that also because all those guys also play guitar? Would you say they're also guitar influences as well?
Hetfield. Hetfield was like my guitar vocalist inspiration. You know, just his
Yeah,
stance, um, just the presence of
yeah,
Hetfield from Master of Puppets and Justice for All. You know, as a kid, I wanted to be that guitarist, vocalist. You know, wanted to have the hunch over.
yep,
Just
yep,
want so it still influences me. You know, having the black sweatbands. You know,
yep.
that was wanting to just channel my inner James Hetfield. In fact, like I didn't even know about this the name for it being called like down picking, downstroking. That's the only way that I learned how to play guitar was
Yeah,
just doing it like that. That
yep,
I had to the opposite way. I had to learn to alternate pick like 20 years after playing
yeah,
more guitar because
yeah.
I learned guitar really from wanting to play the Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning and Master of Puppets album. So I really just learned by just down picking.
And what's the formula for a good Deteriorot song? How is it usually born? Do you come up with a title first, a line, a riff? Where does it usually start?
It all starts really with like I hear something in my head, and it's usually beats. So I hear a drum beat pattern. So I hear just
Okay.
this rhythmic thing, So, and then to that's the story already. So the mystery of the drum. See, the drums are oftentimes in most bands. It's mostly the beat.
Yeah.
So when I think about it, and it's a background, so I think of it as more of the star. That's that's the that's the mystery. Like when you're when you're watching like a horror movie, even like a Psycho or something like that, or Jaws, a lot of the mystery is from this musical score. So
Sure.
so I think the drum element of having this like scary horror or this building up, just this building up to a peak is a lost art. You hear it a lot in early Finnish death metal and early Swedish death metal, even Dismembers like an ever flowing stream, for instance,
Yeah.
or,
Yep.
or amorphous privilege of evil, abhorrence. So all of this has a lot of that element. That's a big influence to me. Or the first Autopsy album, Severed Survival. So that's how I form a song is hearing this drum story and then coming up with a melody and a riff that goes along with that, and just having these dramatic stops that turns into another peak of a riff, putting it together. That song tells me what the title is. It tells me, what does this sound like. It's
Right.
like, listening to it, well, this sounds like a march, okay? And it all started with the drums, like bump, 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 bump. What is that? That's like it's a march. That's where I came up with the story of the Bataan Death March being a true event from World War II, where
Right.
where
Right.
where like it was like American and the Filipinos were joined forces against Japan, and they were captured, and they were forced to walk for days, for thousands of miles,
Yeah.
to their death, and that was
Literally.
an
Yeah.
interesting story. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
an interesting story. I watched like a small documentary piece on that one evening when I was trying to come up with uh, with ideas and so forth, and I was like, man, yeah, I was like that marching song that I had, that was like, it sounds like some kind of like a death battalion. I was like, this could be the story, though, from the Bataan Death March. Um,
And
but
what do you got? Go ahead.
that's
Go
how it
ahead.
comes. The music, yeah. So the music tells the story to me, and
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
yeah.
And so now that the album is out, what plans do you have now going forward? Will you be touring? Will you be out there playing live?
Yeah, we have a couple of shows that's going on for the rest of the year. We're having a record release party in now I'm based out of North Carolina now. So
Okay.
we're taking the trek. It usually takes about 2 days we'll do like a Thursday evening, driving all the way through Friday morning and afternoon to see our old home in New Jersey, and we're having a record release party there on November 14th.
Okay.
In Newark, New Jersey. And Newark, New Jersey is where we had all the death metal shows in the early 90s.
Yeah.
So where everybody got their start there. You know, Immolation, Incantation, Ripping Corpse, Revenant, and then Cannibal Corpse would come through our town too. And so we're doing that, and we have Delaware the day afterwards, Delaware Terror Fest. We're headlining there on November 15th on Saturday at Halftime Sports.
Okay.
Then we have Carolina Terror Fest in South Carolina, and usually for wintertime we try to keep January and February off. Only because we've been there and done that and gotten snowed out of shows.
Oh yeah, I understand that. I'm in upstate New York, man, so I know all about some harsh winters and we're getting ready to brace ourselves for it here. It's coming. Yeah.
So that's one of those things. So maybe who knows? Maybe we'll do something that would be more local in North Carolina or in the South or Florida. But we don't have anything scheduled until March. Right on my birthday, March 14th. It's on a Saturday. We'll be in Kentucky at Lexington, Kentucky, and we're going to do a Kentucky Terror Fest there. So
nice,
like that.
nice. And what's the scene like down around where you are? The metal scene there in Carolina.
The metal scene in Carolina, there is a venue called Ground Zero. It's about an hour and a half from me, and it's like an in between like Atlanta, and I'm in Charlotte, which is a big city in North Carolina. So I like that spot because you get a mix of a crowd from South Carolina and from North Carolina going out there.
Yep.
So we do about 2 events there a year. Charlotte, North Carolina, it had a big venue that had closed down a few years ago, where you'd get a lot of the underground bands. Now you have another venue that's like 1,000 capacity venue. It's a pretty big venue, but it's more. But those are reserved more for like your really big like shows like Amon Amarth and Carcass go through there.
Right.
And so forth. Then we have Chapel of Bones in Raleigh, North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina is about 3 hours from me, and they get some great shows. They really do. Like they just had.
Yeah, I got a friend of mine that I went to high school with. It's in a thrash metal band down in Raleigh.
Yeah. So Raleigh has a really good scene. There's a lot of great bands out there, and that's a great venue. That Chapel of Bones. Just trying to think of what else. I think. They just had Master play there recently too, but they always have great shows. They always have big shows. We found a little small spot called The Den in Winston-Salem. That's about an hour and a half from me, and so we formed a relationship with them, with our promotions company. So it won't be just like us. Like we'll also be, I will be doing promotion shows for other bands that's part of Faithless Entertainment. So
okay. And so now, before I let you out of here, if people want to tap in to what you guys got going on, where's the best place? I know everybody's on social media some way, shape, or form. So if people want to find out what's going on with you, what's going on with the band, where's the best place?
Yeah, I think the best place is always Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
We do have Instagram, Deteriorot Official. And if anybody really wants to get caught up on live events, then they could look up on Bands in Town. Look up Deteriorot dates on Bands in Town. But our Facebook, our social media, we have posts that go on every single day. they can get our official merch. Deteriorot.bandcamp.com. We do merch like no other band does. We do it full time. My wife and I work it. My wife is excellent at it. Every order that comes in, we get out within 24 hours. So our home looks like a merchandising warehouse.
Yeah, like a t-shirt store. Yeah.
yeah. We're set up. We're set up. We do our own printing of the labels, and every day we're at the post office every single day.
Yeah, it's a big part of the business. It's a big part of the business, though. It is. It is. If you're doing your merchandise right, I mean, it's a big part of your. It's a big part of your income.
Yeah. It's not an income for us. It's how we pay for it. It's the only way that we're able to pay for hotels and to pay for a van, and me not having to, I don't have to ask the guys for anything like that because of the merchandise. Yeah. Because of what is earned by that, because I feel like I have a responsibility for them. I want it to be burden free for them. Like, all you need to do is just show up and play. Everything else, we're going to take care of it, and it's through my wife and I, selling merchandise, because that merchandise is how we're going to get 3 hotels for the for the next month. It's how we we got to put a big deposit when we get a van. And we have people like everybody else that they're on a fixed income, or they're behind on stuff, and ourselves. So this is not an income. This is specifically to be able to pay for Deteriorot, so the band members don't have to pay anything out of pocket. So.
Well, that's a nice situation, man. That probably makes for very happy musicians, happy artists, and that's got to lend itself to the creativity. You know what I mean? To be in a relaxed position like that, where, as you say, you just get to show up and play, and things are already in place. That's got to be nice for your fellow bandmates.
I hope so. I said I'll take the burden. I'd rather take the burden of the stress. I don't want anybody to be stressed out and say, hey, like, shit, like I'm gonna miss my job, or I'm sorry, I don't have $300 to put in as my share for a van, and I certainly don't have $200 to put in for a hotel, because I have bills to pay. I don't want anybody that's playing in Deteriorot to have any stress or burden like that. I'll figure it out. You just show up. Right. I will figure the shit out. If I have to annoy people by constantly posting ads about buying a shirt or the vinyl, or throwing discounts on hats, you know what? I'm doing it every single day, so we can be able to do that for the guys.
Well, congrats, man. It's been great talking to you, man. Awakening is a fucking great album, man. I wish you guys a lot of success with it, man, going forward, man. And please stay in touch, man. I'd love to have you back on again. We'll do this again for sure.
Yeah, I'd love it. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
thanks for reaching out. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. And you know what? Thank you for being so responsive. I mean, I literally hit you up and we got this all fucking set up in like a day. Extremely easy to deal with, man. You know what I mean? Like that's great when a guest is just like, yeah, fuck it, I'm ready. Let's do it today. Perfect.
Yeah. Let's do it now. This week is crazy. I was like,
I know.
Let's just do it. I was like, I'll do it today. Today's my interviews day, so I got you.
Yeah.
Got you in.
I appreciate that. It was great talking to you, man. And as I said, stay in touch. We'll do it again, my friend.
Likewise. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Good talking to you, brother. Later. There he goes, folks. Paul Zavaleta of the mighty Deteriorot. They, as I said, have a new album out called Awakening, which literally just came out. As I said, it's November 2nd at the time of this recording. Just came out October 21st. So 10, 11 days old. So go check that out. Do yourself a favor. Feast your ears on new Deteriorot. And as I always say, if you're a fan, be a good fan. Go to the website. As he said, they do merch like nobody else. Go copy some merch. Get on a mailing list. Sign up for a newsletter. Go catch a live show. Be a good fan and support your favorite artists. That's the PSA from your boy Reckless Rexx. And again, I want to thank Paul Zavaleta from Deteriorot for coming on here today. Amazing conversation. And as I said, new Deteriorot is out right now, wherever you listen or buy music. And the album is called Awakening. 12 songs, 36 minutes. It's a fucking bona fide ripper. So go out, do yourself a favor and check it out. And again, make sure to check us out on Facebook at Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. Same with Instagram, Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. See how we made it simple for you there? And of course, if you're here right now, please like, please subscribe, and please smash that notification bell to stay tapped in when new episodes drop. You will be first to know. And that's important. Again, thank you to my viewers. Thank you to my subscribers. And of course, thank you to my guests, without whom I would not be able to do this. At the end of the day, as I always say, I'm a fan. It's amazing how generous people are with their time. When people pop up on screen, I'm like a kid in a candy store. It's a big deal for me as well. So I enjoy doing these episodes. I hope you guys enjoy watching them and listening to them. I appreciate everybody who's been so supportive of the channel. It is always growing. It is always trending upwards. I'm always checking the analytics, and I'm happy to say that it's not because of me. I just show up and have the conversations. That's because of you guys out there and my guests. So I appreciate everybody who's helped make this little independent podcast into something and continue to keep it growing. So thank you to everybody. And again, thank you to today's guest, Paul Zavaleta from Deteriorot. I appreciate all you guys. And until we get together and we do this thing again, please remember to take it easy and keep it sleazy.